Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. From Bloomberg, President Donald Trump announced last Tuesday at the White House that the U.S. will withdraw from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal and reinstate financial sanctions on the Islamic Republic. Quote, "The fact is, this was a horrible, one-sided deal that should never have been made. We cannot prevent an Iranian nuclear bomb under the decaying and rotten structure of the current agreement." Those are pretty strong words. Continuing quote, "The Iran deal is defective at its core. If I allowed this deal to stand, there would soon be a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. Everyone would want their weapons ready by the time Iran had theirs." Close quote. The sanctions halt $40 billion in aircraft sales by Boeing and Airbus to Iran, and export licenses permitting sales will be revoked. The Treasury Department said that sanctions that had been waived under the deal would take full effect after November 4th. Then from the Prime Minister's office, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said last Tuesday, quote, "Israel fully supports President Trump's bold decision today to reject the disastrous nuclear deal with the terrorist regime in Tehran. Israel has opposed the nuclear deal from the start because we said that rather than blocking Iran's path to a bomb, the deal actually paved Iran's path to an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs, and this within a few years' time. The deal did not push war further away, it actually brought it closer. The deal did not reduce Iran's aggression, it dramatically increased it. Since the deal, we've seen Iran's aggression grow every day in Iraq, Lebanon, in Yemen, in Gaza, and most of all in Syria, where Iran is trying to establish military bases from which to attack Israel." Close quote. Then from the Washington Post, the road to Jerusalem was decorated with American and Israeli flags yesterday for the official opening of the U.S. Embassy. President Trump addressed the crowd via live video link-up. Traveling with the official delegation, Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican, South Carolina, said, quote, "In a fractured Middle East, now is the time for America to have Israel's back." Yeah, well, always. Turning to my personal thoughts. Pastor J.D. Farag did it again, my friends, just like he always does. But this time, he went for an unusual hour and 17 minutes with his urgent Bible prophecy update released last Thursday on May 10th. I have a link for you below. Now, if you haven't watched this one, I suggest it's one you do not want to miss. He does a great job, as always, but this one's quite comprehensive. Also, he mentioned a movie titled The Coming Convergence, which runs an hour and 41 minutes and is now available on Amazon Prime. I have Apple TV, and through that I get access to Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime also. I do most of my shopping on Amazon. It's worth the $100 a year for Prime membership because I get everything 2-day delivery and postage paid. It's a pretty good deal. But on top of that, there's Amazon Prime where you can get TV shows, movies, and on and on and on. And I'm finding out it pretty much beats Netflix, which seems to be, I don't know, falling away or something. Beats Netflix, Hulu, it seems to beat all of them altogether. But I watched this movie, The Coming Convergence, and it certainly is a worthwhile watch. They cover a lot of details about Bible prophecy and where we're at in time. An excellent movie. Thank you, JD, for suggesting it. Now, also, Isabella Morgia Di Vicari teaches Italian cooking and a little Italian speak in her videos. I learned from Gordon Ramsay how important it is to avoid adding too many flavors to any dish. And last week I spotted Isabella's recipe for making tomato sauce from fresh tomatoes, and I decided to try it out. And wow, I mean, it's just absolutely delicious. Simple, quick, 10 minutes, easy. I urge you to try it out, my friends. I got a link to Isabella's video for you below. I think it's like 7 minutes. You can make yourself a great marinara sauce that you can use it, spaghetti, fish, whatever you want. Side dish, a little bread, and just munch. It's really good. Also, I had a hard time finding her YouTube page to subscribe, but perseverance is one of Alan's many middle names. Click Isabella's link below, and you can subscribe to her cooking videos. Now further, I received some very precious hand-crocheted gifts in the mail from someone who teaches you how to crochet, and I don't know her name. Her name is nowhere to be seen on her YouTube channel. She sent me a package in the mail. I always get rid of the boxes, so I guess I missed the return address, but nothing of the contents. Her name is nowhere. She's really bent on remaining anonymous and keeping the focus on the Father's Word, which is really nice. But she's started a new playlist and teaches you how to crochet all 22 of the Odiote on her YouTube channel. Her channel is titled Learn Crochet by the Sea. I think I found her through Betriska, Betty Demers. And anyway, she's doing the Odiote, showing you how to crochet the Odiote for yourself. I thought that was pretty good, so I've decided to give her a plug on today's newscast. I imagine there's some of you out there who'd be interested. So, I have a link for you, of course, beneath today's newscast. The link will take you to her complete playlist of how to crochet each one of the 22 Odiote, and if you appreciate what she's doing, subscribe to her channel and support her. Turning to wars and rumors of wars, on Thursday, May 10th, from the New York Times, Iranian forces in Syria fired 20 rockets into Israel early on Thursday, targeting IDF positions on the Golan Heights. Then from Ynet News, after Iranian forces in Syria launched that rocket attack on Israeli army bases in the Golan Heights, the IDF attacked more than 50 Iranian targets in Syria in one of the greatest operations of the Israel Air Force in the past 10 years. Under Iranian command, 20 rockets were fired by Hezbollah experts and Shiite militias with Iranian weapons, and none of them hit Israeli territory. I don't know whether they need more practice or They're firing out of the backs of those pickup trucks. How accurate can you get using shock absorbers, on a little pickup truck? I don't get it. But anyway, 4 of them were intercepted by the Iron Dome, and the rest landed on Syrian territory. There were no injuries. Not a single post sustained damage. If the Syrians allow direct activity against Israel, they will pay a price. It'll take the Iranians a long time to rebuild the operational, military, and intelligence infrastructure that the IDF hit. Operational, military, and intelligence infrastructure? I suppose they're titling it that, but I don't know if you could actually call it that. They didn't hit any targets. Anyway, from the Times of Israel, Russia's defense ministry said that 28 Israeli F-15 and F-16 aircraft were used in the attack, which released around 60 air-to-ground missiles over various parts of Syria. And Israel also fired more than 10 tactical ground-to-ground missiles. What a day. Now, looking at our Intifada update from Ynet News, incendiary helium balloons released from Gaza early last week caused fires in 7 locations in Israel. One balloon set a wheat field ablaze near Kibbutz Mefalsim. Another caused a fire in the Be'eri forest. Farmers estimate the damage to their fields that caught fire near harvest time at hundreds of thousands of shekels. 1,000 shekels would be approximately $275 American dollars. But they're talking about hundreds of thousands of shekels worth of damage. Then on Friday, May 11th, from Haaretz, Israel has begun enlisting amateur drone racers to deal with the onslaught of burning kites being flown from Gaza into Israel, where they start fires. The racer drones, first deployed on Friday, either fly through the kites to shred them or down them with the help of fish hooks. What a sight. On Saturday, and what a game to practice, I mean, I don't know. I suppose I'd buy me a racer drone just to go out there and have some fun. Anyway, on Saturday, Israeli security forces arrived at a site where a kite landed and discovered an explosive device hidden inside with a remote detonator which could be operated from a mobile phone. Then from the Jerusalem Post, the IDF is using small, remote-controlled aircraft with knives on their wings to counter incendiary kites launched from Gaza, and has downed more than 40 kites. Is this a war? I mean, I've never heard of such things, Well, I haven't heard of anything that goes on these days. Sunday, May 13th, from the Associated Press. 2 days after hundreds of Israeli Arabs destroyed the fuel terminal at the main cargo crossing with Israel, the UN warned of dwindling fuel supplies needed to run hospitals, pick up garbage, pump water, and treat sewage. Officials say it could take months to repair the damage. Israel has held Gaza's Hamas rulers responsible. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. From the Times of Israel, some 45,000 people paraded through the old city of Jerusalem on Sunday in the annual Flag March, marking the 51st anniversary of the reunification of the city during the 1967 Six-Day War. I should say during the indescribably miraculous 1967 Six-Day War, where Abba Father Yahweh displayed in many ways and instances how he fights Israel's battles. The march began in downtown Jerusalem and moved toward the Western Wall in the Old City. Then on Monday, May 14th, from Ynet News, some 50,000 Israeli Arabs gathered at the Gaza border fence and clashed with IDF forces. 50,000. 25 were reportedly killed, and hundreds were wounded. The IDF killed 3 terrorists who tried to plant an explosive device in the Rafah area. Hamas wants to carry out a massacre in Israel. Fact is, the Israel Defense Forces will not let them. And now, my friends, looking at our review of last week's news. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. will withdraw from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal and reinstate financial sanctions on the Islamic Republic. The road to Jerusalem was decorated with American and Israeli flags for the official opening of the U.S. Embassy. Iranian forces in Syria fired 20 rockets into Israel, targeting IDF positions on the Golan Heights. After Iranian forces in Syria launched that rocket attack on Israel army bases in the Golan Heights, the IDF attacked more than 50 Iranian targets in Syria in one of the greatest operations of the Israel Air Force in the past 10 years. Incendiary helium balloons released from Gaza early last week caused fires in 7 locations in Israel. Israel has begun enlisting amateur drone racers to deal with the onslaught of burning kites being flown from Gaza into Israel, while the IDF is using small remote-controlled aircraft with knives on their wings to counter incendiary kites launched from Gaza. And some 50,000 Israeli Arabs gathered at the Gaza border fence, clashing with IDF forces. 25 killed, hundreds wounded. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, keep your wicks trimmed and keep your lamps ablaze. Shalom, my friends.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.